now we come to one of probably the most important things to do with programming in general. And some people, they don't put any importance on this, but I think it's one of the most fundamental things that there are, is naming of constants and variables. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter about how you write the code today. It matters about how someone else views that code at a later stage, say maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 months or a year later, and where they have to take time out to work out what the code is actually doing, what the developer was thinking at that one time, whether there are any bugs, and so on. So naming constants and variables can really help to save time in the future. So with that said, we're going to talk about what's the best practice naming convention here, and how you should or shouldn't name constants and variables, and how you can and can't name them. So I've taken these examples straight from the documentation, and you can see here we can build and run this and it works perfectly fine. All right, these 3 variables here are 100% how not to write variables. If you want an example of how not to write variables, they are on the screen right now. Okay, they've worked fine, but it's absolute terrible way of doing anything. And please never do this. Never do this. If you're going to write joke code for April Fool's Day or something like that, then do this like this. But this is not the way to do it. A variable should be should literally identify what value it has and what usage it has. So if we wanted to define someone's first name, then we would say first name like this, and we could say David. If we then wanted to define the year of birth, then we could say year of birth is equal to 1978. This is showing that the person reading this variable, firstly it says, hey, this is immutable, it's a let, so it shouldn't be changed, and you can't change the year of your birth. We know after it that we are assuming that it's going to start with 19 or 20, depending upon when you were born. Now, if you were born in 1800s and the code is talking about someone in the 1800s, then we're going to need to be using the full 4 digits. So this is a way of being able to do it. And if you'll be able to see that you cannot start a variable, let's just put any rubbish after it here, and just put any rubbish in it. If we just compile it, you'll see A is not a valid digit in integer literal. Basically, this is saying, hey, don't do this. You cannot start a variable with a number, first of all right? Now, if we remove the number and compile it once again, an underscore is allowed to be able to start with this, all right? If we then, what we can't start it with is a mathematical symbol either. So let's just say plus is add here, and we just run it again. You can see that there is expected a pattern because it means something different. We can't start it with any of these, all right? And I could just keep going through these, but if you just trust me that basically anything in the alphabet is allowed. So anything from A through to Z, and then any other characters, and then A through to Z once again. And 0 through to 9 is not permitted as the first character, but underscore is permitted as the first character. And please don't do this, all right? Just don't do it. It works, but just don't do it, all right? I don't care whether it works. Don't do it. Start it with either A to Z from small letters. And if you're defining a constant, then don't start it with the first capital letter, right? If you are going to make a constant, then I don't know, this could be like API key, then go all uppercase. If you see someone doing all uppercase, this is meaning, hey, this is really a constant. This is a constant that should be used, accessible everywhere, and it normally contains the likes of environment variables or something like that. Something that never changes is when it's all in uppercase, and it means it's super, super important, all right? But just having an immutable variable, then don't use this. This should just be like a proper constant everywhere, all right? So you can look at the rules about how you can define a variable. Now, it also says that you can use backticks, okay? So if we wanted to call this then switch, and this is the text, then we can use switch as a variable name as well, but don't do this, all right? Don't do this. It's just not good practice. And if you want to get a job as a developer, it's just not good practice. The fact that you can do it doesn't mean to say that you have to do it, all right? So this is basically naming constants and variables. So if it's a part of your application, it's a part of the code, and you're going to do some expressions based upon it, then always use, in my opinion, always use like camel case, other programming languages like snake case, so like this. Swift developers, they tend to not like that. They prefer that you do it in camel case. If you are going to start a variable with an underscore, it predominantly means it's like a private variable and so on, but there are other ways and means of doing that as well. Like I said, using all uppercase, then with snake case, is a pretty good thing to do, in my opinion. This backtick stuff is fine if you need to do other things in it, but just don't use reserved keywords. Don't use them whatsoever. Anyway, if there is any other information about naming constants and variables that I've missed, then please just put it in the comment section down below. Other than that, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and do all of the other normal social media things that you could do. Thanks then. Ciao, ciao. Goodbye.